Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome, especially if you're new. Happy New Year. We're a few days after the new year, and so I'm now getting around to my top 10 movies of 2023. And so this is going to be my subjective list. I'm not trying to say these are the best movies ever of 2023 for all people. These are just my favorite 10 movies. It was a hard decision to make for some of them, leaving a couple off this list. I think overall it was maybe a little easier than last year. I feel like there were fewer great movies all around, but I'm sure that the strikes had a little bit to do with what actually got released this year. But that being said, we still had a lot of good stuff, and yeah, these are my favorite 10 films that if I had to walk away from the year with only 10, or going back had to not see any of the other films except these 10, these are the 10 that it would be. And like I said, it's hard leaving some off the list, but yeah, these are the ones that I enjoyed the most and I appreciated the most. So these are in no particular order, other than alphabetical. That makes it easier. It's hard enough picking out 10. It's even harder trying to arrange those in an order. So I'm not even gonna try. But the first up we have Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Um, One kind of small spoiler: if I had to make this list halfway through the year, it would be pretty. It would have. This list is pretty similar to what it was there. So I think we had a much stronger first half of the year than the second half. But yeah, so first up we have Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And I thought this film was really special. I thought it captured an experience that I haven't had firsthand. To be a middle school aged girl growing up, and going through life and that sort of a thing. And I mean, I think there's some things there. We all grow up. We all go from kids to adults. But when a movie can capture an experience that I wouldn't otherwise have and make me feel like I can understand that, I really appreciate that. And to me, this movie just felt that the characters in it felt very real. It didn't feel necessarily like I was watching a movie, and that as well, I think, is a sign of a movie being well done. So uh, yeah, this is just one that I really liked. Next up, we have Barbie. This was a film that I was looking forward to, but I had no idea how much I'd actually like it. I think it was so expertly crafted to be an enjoyable film with an important message. To you know, the I think all too often when films try to push feminism and that sort of a thing, I think that's great, but they tend to go about it in a way where they also tear down men. And I think this film, I mean, I think that's okay and it has its place, but I appreciate more where you can build up both women and men in the same film and kind of have a commentary on each, without tearing the other down. And I think this one was so expertly done in that way. And um, yeah, I think it's a really hard balance to strike. So like, yeah, no judgment on the films that maybe are a little bit more heavy-handed. This one, I think, yeah, struck that balance perfectly while also being entertaining. And yeah, I really liked the characters and the actors, and it was a lot of fun to go see it with my friends in theaters. And just kind of all that experience is what definitely puts this in the top 10 for me. Next up, we have Creed 3. I absolutely loved this film. I liked the previous two Creed films. I think I liked one better than two. But I was excited to see Michael B. Jordan directing his first movie. I thought he did a great job. And then the story is just so personal with this one. And again, it captures an experience that I otherwise wouldn't have really any chance of understanding. So there again, it makes me appreciate the movie. But it's also just really sad seeing the personal connection between these characters and then having them fight in the film. I thought the cinematography was great, the story was great, the characters are great, and I absolutely love this film. And yeah, happy we had it this last year. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I would say this is kind of on the edge of my list. If I had to be ranking these, this one would be towards the bottom. But I've played a lot of D&D in my time, and I thought this very much was both a good film, but also had a lot of stuff in it to appreciate as somebody who's played D&D. but while it's maybe not the most sophisticated film or has the most depth, I thought the characters were fairly well fleshed out, and it's just an overall very fun and adventure driven movie, and one that I really liked. I don't know, I'm a fan of fantasy, and I think this was just a great fantasy film. So um, yeah, that's Dungeons and Dragons. A Good Person, that's the next one up. Yeah, going back, if you've watched other of my videos, I do appreciate a story that involves a good amount of sadness, and that can get you to connect with the characters and kind of feel that sadness. Not everything has to be happy-go-lucky, so I appreciate when we get those, and that's definitely what this movie was. It's definitely hard to watch at times, but I think Florence Pugh did a great job with the main character. I thought the story was great, and it's just it's everyone struggles, everyone has challenges as they go through life, and so I think it makes it relatable, even though hardly any of us are going to go through what this character goes through. But to see somebody, I don't know, it's for me personally, I think it kind of resonates, seeing that struggle and that perseverance, and that it's not happy-go-lucky, and it's not success on your first try. It's fall down, get back up, and I think that's just so relatable. That's what most of us are experiencing personally on a day-to-day basis. And so when a movie can kind of tell that and then show that support, like what comes with that then is the support that's given, and how you get through that and how we persevere as humans is yeah, I don't know. For me, it just resonates, and I really like the music for this film. That always helps. I think it's perfect for what it is. Next up, we have Missing. This film as well is kind of on the edge of my list, but I really appreciated it for what it was. It was just kind of a film that I wasn't expecting to like this much. It's maybe not like the best cinema ever, but it's just a good suspense sort of thriller film. Told in a creative way. There's other films that do that, where they're kind of telling it through a screen, and pulling up different apps and that sort of a thing. But it's a unique enough experience, and one that I appreciated. And I thought the twists and turns were so well done, and it was very well paced. And just for me, it was such a fun experience that it's hard to kind of take it out of my top 10 as new movies come up, even though there might be objectively better movies. This was a great film and a great experience for me. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I love especially the more recent kind of 4, 5, and 6 Mission Impossible movies, and I was really excited for this one. I think Mission Impossible Fallout is probably my favorite spy movie, and this one did not quite reach Fallout level heights, but it was still a really really good film. I like the characters. I think the action is great. The music is great. It's just such an expertly crafted, fun film. And yeah, the villain was maybe a little weak. That's probably what kind of knocks it, and that sort of a thing. I was a little disappointed they didn't put like IMAX dimensions on the shots that they filmed with IMAX. It was just kind of a steady aspect ratio throughout the film, whereas Fallout did change aspect ratios. But yeah, this is still at this point it's one of my favorite franchises, and I think they keep knocking it out of the park. Even though like financially it didn't do that well at the box office, I still absolutely love this film. Past Lives. This is another non-blockbuster film, but one that I'm so happy got on my radar and I saw. This one isn't necessarily overly sad. It's maybe a little bit more melancholy, but it's another film that's not happy-go-lucky. It's more grounded. Examining what it's like. A couple characters who were friends growing up, but then they drift apart due to circumstances of life, and then they kind of connect later, but what does that look like in a real world? Like in a rom-com, it would have them together by the end of the movie. Maybe that happens here, maybe it doesn't. You're not really sure as you're watching it, but it feels so much more grounded and real. Like these are real characters that have depth, and that's the sort of thing, at least at this point in my life, that I appreciate. So I thought this was just really well done. It didn't feel like a story that I had seen before, and that's also I think it's a great film. Polite Society. This was another film that is so much fun. So yeah, my top 10 kind of bounces between so much fun and serious and sort of melancholy and down to earth. So on average, it kind of balances out. But Polite Society was this was just so much fun. I can't think of another movie where I went in and was so delightfully surprised at just yeah, I don't know how else to say it other than so much fun. I liked the characters. I thought the story was good. It was fun seeing the character interact like with her sister, her family, her friends. Those all felt kind of real and not like maybe a little stereotypical, but also not necessarily not something that I felt like I had seen before, but also kind of felt familiar. So it's I don't know. It's kind of in that weird space, but overall, I thought just a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet. And then the last one, this is actually my favorite film of the year. This was all the others are kind of hard to order, but this was the only one that got into the S tier for me, which is my like one of my favorite films, and that's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I absolutely love this film. I think the animation, the art style, the different art styles in it, it's just a masterpiece of a film. The soundtrack, the characters, the story, everything. It's I think the longest animated film ever. So much work went into this, and it's done so well. I love the characters, and then like on top of that, I think it's just a masterclass of animation and filmmaking all around. And I don't know that I can think of anything to criticize about this movie. I absolutely loved it, and yeah, highly recommend it. I can't wait for the next part. I'm like, we have to wait a year for this. I want to see it now. But I think that's been pushed. But we'll take your time. If they take 10 years to make a movie like this, I can wait. I'd rather have something that's this great and have to wait for it than something be rushed and be anything less. So yeah, that's my top 10 for the year. That's 2023 in a wrap. I probably won't do a video on like favorite TV shows. I'd have to kind of go back. I don't track those as much as movies. I definitely watch more movies, but ones that stick out that I remember liking. I really liked The Last of Us. I had played the video game, so it wasn't as brand new of a story or an experience, but if you haven't played the game, I think that's a must-watch. It's a great story and a great TV show. I finished Succession this year. I thought that was a solid finale of a season. And yeah, I really love that show and just kind of the atmosphere that show is. I watched Gen V. I thought that was good. It's not quite at the level of The Boys in my opinion. I do love The Boys as a show. And then I've kind of been catching up on, trying to think. I think I watched, yeah, other things that are noteworthy. I've watched some other things, but not a whole lot comes to mind. Secret Invasions wasn't very good, unfortunately. I did finish Andor. I watched the first half of that like a year ago, and then I got caught up on the second half this last like week or so, and I think that's a really good show. But yeah, those are the ones that come to mind. I'm very excited for House of the Dragon this coming year, and I think we might be getting The Boys season 4 this coming year. I'm not 100% sure. And who knows when we're going to get the final season of Stranger Things. Those are kind of my main shows that I'm very much looking forward to. Arcane season 2, that's another one, but anyway, that's just to kind of share some of my thoughts because I probably won't have time to do another video. It would be nice if I could kind of devote one to each of those topics individually of what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, definitely share your thoughts down below. What were your favorite movies? Do you have a favorite movie or just some of your favorites? It doesn't have to necessarily be an ordered list. Share them down in the comments below. If you got any show recommendations, I'd love to hear those too. But with that, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next video.